So I thought I'd comment about this show and how it's spiritual for me. And I have a particular meaning for the word spiritual. I looked up the origin of that one too. And the word spirit comes from the word breath. And it really relates to the ancient times when we weren't quite sure whether someone was dead or not, and we put a mirror or some piece of glass in front of their mouth to see if there was condensation on it. It's fairly sophisticated for an ancient culture. So spirit came from that, and ritual means meaningfully repeated. So meaningfully repeated breath. What's the kind of rhythm of the universe? That's what's important for me spiritually. And what I'm attempting, you can judge whether it's successful or not, in my art is to try to attempt to kind of document what the Asians call a face behind the face, a greater cosmos. Cosmos means order, a greater order behind the surface manifestations that I think sometimes as humans we spend too much time on surfaces and not enough seeing the greater order. So most of these, sometimes you've been to shows, some of you where they're more photographic in nature. So this show is more related to my painting and drawing. And even though the article on me said that I would really love to have people interpret my work or bring comments about my work in, and then I like to tell people about how I felt about it, the second part isn't really true. I'd much rather hear what you experience in your life's journey and how that might relate to your viewing of the work, because for me that completes the work of art. The viewer is part of the whole process. The abstract expressionists hated that, by the way. They wanted to be so abstract that if you said, well, gee, that looks like a tin can there, they'd get all mad, but I'm not that way. So this one over here started with a drawing. And I've always liked kind of little separate parts of my work, but I discovered the grid in more recent years, which kind of interconnects. So there's a lot of grid work in many of these. So there's a kind of connection. So I took this drawing, put it in a scanner, and then it's a very simple drawing. And then after I scanned it, then I danced with digital. And I like drawing because of the sense of brush stroke. I like photography because of its precision. But I like digital because I can go from my conceptions in my brain to the final outcome in the most flexible and quick way. And I go into a kind of hypnotic state. I know that because when someone calls on the phone, or when my wife used to stop by and say hello, sometimes I'm in the middle of working, I felt I was coming out of a